Hey guys, it's Meg. I am back this week with a new Journeys in Witchcraft video for you. If you guys want to see more from me, please go ahead and click the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell notifications so you can stay in the loop for when I post new work. Also, I've included all my social media links in the description below, just so you can get a hold of me outside of YouTube if you would like to. And I've also linked all of my sources for this video in the description as well. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about starting your path if you choose to be on a path in witchcraft. You're gonna get a lot coming at you all at once, and I wanted to share some observations with you that I made. Simply because it can get really overwhelming, and I'll admit that I was really overwhelmed too. Before I get into that, however, we have a guest who will not be appearing because they are not comfortable doing so, but they are cleaning up a mess that they've made, so if you hear that, that's what's going on. Yeah. So, like I said, it can be extremely overwhelming when you get started, and you'll hear a lot of things like you need these tools and these gemstones, and there's a lot of noise. Trust me, I've heard it before. But the best advice that I can give you to help ease that overwhelm is to keep an open mind and do your research. So we're going to start in the place that I started with, and that was looking at tools. It certainly does help. I choose not to use the stuff outside of what I've already purchased, so that's things like my smudges, my stones, incense. I already had a couple trays on hand, so I'm using that for storage and an altar space because I have a semi-permanent altar. However, you're going to hear things like you need this ritual knife or you need a wand and all of this. It's fine if you want to use them, especially if you choose to do a lot of energetic work over a long period of time. So, for example, if you're doing spells, let's say, well, because it just passed Litha, there's a couple days in there, and if you're doing energetic work across that period of time, having tools may help you. But for me, just because I was already really busy, I didn't have a whole lot of time, I didn't do anything, and so I just sort of stepped back. The one thing that I will genuinely go all in for are my cleansing rituals. So like I said, normally I do cleanse of all my supplies on the full moon, and that I just bring everything out and leave out so that it can recharge and re-cleanse. You can invest in these tools if you so choose, do your research, but please consider holding back a little bit on them if you're just starting, because if you decide that it's not for you, in fact, you won't have lost anything in terms of monetary investments. The research may help you make other informed decisions about where you want to go, and that's perfectly fine. Now, to get into some of mine, some of my favorite supplies, I do enjoy my candles very much, and of course my tarot decks. We'll talk about those in some upcoming videos, but also my stones and my cleansing supplies like my sage smudge and my incense and all of that. So those are some of my favorite supplies. Again, the best I can say is do your research. Now, here's where I didn't really know a whole lot because like I said, this is a very broad, this is a very broad thing to research. And there are many paths you can follow. I choose to call myself eclectic, meaning that I don't follow Wicca. I'm not Wiccan. But I also, because I didn't know what else to say. I did come to find out in watching a couple of videos on YouTube that I am pursuing mostly cosmic witchcraft. That's things like the zodiacs, astrology, dealing with celestial bodies like the moon and the sun. I think I said astrology, but I'm going to say constellations as well. It's in there. I think I've just repeated myself. Also, what I wrote in my script that it's cartomancy, but really it's tarot reading for the simplistic explanation. Maybe not. We'll see. I like reading tarot. That's what I've specialized my craft to. And like I said, I'm not following Wicca because I'm not necessarily working with goddesses or gods, even though I've done some preliminary research. One of them that kept coming up for me was Hecate, because I kept seeing things like wands and fire. And according to what I've done in terms of research, Hecate has the association of fire. Fact check me on that in the comments below if you know differently. You know, I know about the triple moon goddess, the horned god, things like that, but I'm not actively working with their energies. So therefore, I feel more comfortable calling myself eclectic or a cosmic witch rather than a Wiccan. In any case, I do also work with the larger spirit, the spirit at large, the energies around me, and the ritual that came up to mind first is the ritual I did for Samhain, and it was beautiful, and so, and I'm very happy I got to do that. But I do have to say, going back to the tools, some people will say that Ouija boards have gotten a bad rap, and I fully believe that, especially because they can be used as a communication device if you know what you're doing. I think the way Ouija boards have come into a negative light is that people are just treating them as toys, and things can go wrong. I fully believe that things can go wrong. I'm on the board saying that, so you know, please be careful with those. If you don't know what you're doing, please, you know, look for help. I'm sure there are people who specialize in spirit communication and would be willing to teach you. Be ready with them. I'm a little leery because I don't have experience with them, but please be careful if you're going to use them. So, moving on from that, I did actually do a bit of research into the history of the Ouija board, and I'll leave a link. I found it underwhelming, to be honest, but this is the best I could find on short notice. Again, fact check me in the comments if you know differently. You know where they are. Again, yeah, you know what to do. So that's about it for getting started. I will say that I've noticed a lot of my practice is about the research aspect, so finding out things about what the full moon names mean, and generally I've come to the conclusion that a lot of the names, like the pink moon, the current, I'll look this up, but they have, like, the names of the full moons have associations in Native American and Indian mythologies and things like that. And I think that's beautiful. And, you know, especially because I'm a cosmic witch and because I am practicing that, I think that is helpful for me to know and a good way for me to honor the people that came before me. So like I said, that was, it's going to be researching and practically applying the things that come under your area of interest. So like I said, cosmic witchery, I'm interested in tarot readings. A lot of it is researching the tarot, what those meanings might have. You know, if you're a kitchen witch, maybe look at kitchen magic, which, you know, it is easy to find, especially if you enjoy cooking. There's your recipes, you know. Like I said before, it will be overwhelming, but the good thing is that it can be tailored to you. Maybe my way of practicing isn't gonna be okay, and you like meditating and writing things out. I like meditating and writing things out, but I also like being hands-on and developing my spells. Maybe you would like to practice something a little bit more structured. All of that's okay. Please make sure that you're not thinking about doing this because someone tells you you would be great at it. Maybe you will. That's true. But I think it's always best to examine your intentions for doing something, especially something like this. And I'm going to tell you a story. I had a friend come out, walking out with me before all the COVID business got crazy. And we went into a store, and she noticed that because I had showed her a couple of my tarot decks, she noticed that the store had one of the exact decks that I had. And she's like, ooh, she grabbed it off the shelf, she went and bought it, and I taught her how to use it. But she said something that gave me pause. Is like, well, it's cool, I want to try it. It's like, great. But are you doing it because I'm doing it and you want to keep up with me, or are you doing it because it fills a need for you? Those are the questions that please ask yourself, examine your intentions. The way that what I get out of it is personal to me. What you get out of it, it will be personal to you. And that's how I feel it should be. And I'm still learning a lot. That's the best part about this, is that you will learn so much about yourself, about the traditions, and it's okay to, certainly okay to follow them to the letter if that's what you need to do. But for me, I like adapting things that have come before me, and that's my way of saying, hey, I see this, I honor this, and I hope that it will be okay to do. Before I close out, I want to give a little bit of history about my past spiritual practices, because while I've talked a little bit about this before in other videos, I want to talk to you guys about a little bit of my past spiritual practices. I'm shaking the freaking camera, and I'm sorry. So to start, I grew up in a Christian household, and it was very fulfilling for quite a while. In fact, 30 years of my life, I went to the same church. I was very happy there for a long time, but it got to a point where I kept hearing the same thing. I felt really kind of put upon to be there. And that's never the point for me, that was never the point of me going. I wanted a spiritual recharge for the beginning of my week, and for a long time I found that. fact, I have very close family friends that go to that church as well. But I started getting extremely bored and not wanting to be there. At the last minute, I just found myself sitting and waiting for something to happen, something different to happen, and it just wasn't doing that for me anymore. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't follow Christianity anymore. There's certain beliefs and tenets and rules that I can apply to my witchcraft. Like, don't be a dick to people, pardon my language. There's that. Treat others fairly, treat others with kindness, shine your light and love, and the world will shine its light and love back on you. Maybe that's naivete coming in, I don't know, but it's things like that I've been taught, and I still love it. But I found that while witchcraft is a way of keeping myself accountable and honoring my environment, Christianity is still a way for me to reach out to people and to show kindness and love as well. So there is a bit of that there. As far as my dad knows, I'm doing both. So he's on the level with it too. So that is about it for this video. If you guys have any questions or just want to fact check anything I've said, you guys know where to go. If you like this video, please go ahead and do all the things I mentioned at the beginning of the video, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah! Love you guys. Talk to you soon.